You know, it can be hard sometimes trying to understand women. So before my wife had her driver's license and knew how to drive, she was very comfortable with me driving her anywhere. She would often just kind of sleep or relax or look at her phone. But as soon as she got her license and she knew how to drive, she got very worried and scared every time we were in the car together. She'd be like, oh, look out, look at this car, look out, there's a car. It got so bad to the point, like, when we get in the car, I understand that there's different things that happen when we're on the road that we can't control. I just want you to know I'm paying attention to the road, I'm paying attention to the other drivers, and I'm driving very safely. If you want to drive the car, you can do that. But I don't want to drive the car, I just want you to be safe. I'm driving safely. Okay, but I mean, other people are driving crazy and they will be doing that. That's not, I can't control them. As soon as she was paying attention to what was on the road, she no longer trusted me in the same way that she used to. And they always say things like women have women's intuition. And I believe in that wholeheartedly, because every time that I even consider going to the bathroom, I'll have a line of women that cut me off. We'll be like at my mom's house and we're all just kind of like doing our own things, and then I'll be like, I'm going to the bathroom. I don't even say it. I don't even announce it. My mom gets the sense that I might be thinking about the bathroom. Like, are you about to go to the bathroom? Let me just go pee really quick. I've had to pee for like the last hour and I've just been holding it. My wife will be like, oh, were you going to go to the bathroom? Let me just go to the bathroom too real quick. Sometimes when we're staying at my mom's too, like, I gotta get up in the middle of the night because I have to go to the bathroom. And when I get there, my mom is either just arriving or is already at the bathroom. Almost like she was anticipating me getting up to have to go to that bathroom at that exact moment. There was a disturbance in the force and someone was about to use the bathroom, so I better get there first. So a lot of times when me and my wife are watching a movie or the TV show, I'll see an actor or an actress and I'll think, I've seen that person before. And I'll have to think about it for a little bit, but then I can normally figure out oh, okay, I saw them in this movie before, in this show, and my wife is always kind of a little bit amazed about it. How can you always recognize these people and then picture where they were in other shows? And she sometimes gets a little bit down on herself about it. And I can never remember where I've seen these people before. And I don't want her to feel bad about this or anything, so I'll make sure I tell her, listen, we both remember things. We just have different focuses. So I'm good at remembering characters and faces from TV shows or movies that I've seen in the past, and you're really good at remembering any time I've slighted you in the entire time we've known each other. A lot of my wife's conversations lead off with, now, I don't want to sound mean, but, and I'll say, let me stop you right there. If you don't want to sound mean, you might want to just stop there. But she doesn't. When we're arguing about something, she uses the argument of it's different a lot. I'll give you an example. So I brought my jacket with me when we went to the park, and she sees that I had my jacket, and she said, how come you didn't bring my jacket? You thought about bringing a jacket for yourself because you might get cold, but you didn't think about bringing a jacket for me because I might get cold. And you know what? It's valid. That's fine. I understand where she's coming from. But I'll say something like, you've never asked me if I wanted a jacket or have brought a jacket for me. And she'll be like, but that's different. And I was like, how is that different? It's different. But then another time, I'll say something like, I wish you had told me that you were going to eat ice cream. I could have stopped and got some more at the store on the way home because I was really looking forward to eating ice cream tonight, and now we don't have any. And then she'll say something like, okay, but why am I always the one changing the toilet paper? And I'll be like, I feel like these are kind of different things that we're talking about. And she's like, no, they're the same. And I think sometimes it just comes down to being able to relate to each other. Men and women relate to each other in different ways. I think a lot of times my wife feels like I can't really relate to what she's going through, and so she will regularly compare something that she's going through with me getting kicked in the balls. So whenever she was having our child, she's like, imagine so you've told me sometimes you get kicked in the balls and it really hurts and it goes up into your stomach and just it's a very intense pain and you feel kind of nauseous from it and stuff. She's like, that's what I was going through whenever I was having my contractions and stuff. Okay, that's totally fair. You know what? It's probably worse. It's probably something like all the times in my life I've gotten hit in the balls, all condensed into one pain, and that sounds awful. That's a time that makes sense to try to relate it to me getting kicked in the balls. But she'll use it for a lot of other things too that I could probably relate a little bit better to. Something like, she'll get hit by a ball like in her breast, and she'll be like, oh, it hurts so bad. And I'm like, oh, you okay? Like, how's that feel? And she'd be like, just imagine getting kicked in the balls, and that's what it feels like. I'm like, okay, it's it's a little bit different. I guess I don't have breasts. I'm sure it's painful. But then she'll do something like she'll stub her toe on the autumn, and she'll be like, oh, my toe. And I'm like, oh no, I know that probably hurts. Are you okay? And she's like, just imagine you getting kicked in the balls. That's what I feel like right now. And I'm like, I have toes too, and I've stubbed them, and I know what it feels like, so I can relate to what you're going through. I'm really just asking, like, are you okay? Do you think it might be broken? Do we need to go see somebody? Like, are you all right? Can you put weight on it? She'll get bit by a bug on her arm or something, and it hurts. And she'll be like, my arm, jeez. And I'm like, oh, what happened? Are you all right? And she's like, just imagine if your balls got bit by a bug. And that's like, okay. I think we're moving a little bit far into this balls territory. I get it. I understand that it hurts, but it's really, I don't think it's necessarily comparable. I have arms that get bit by bugs, and it's not the same as my balls getting bit by bugs. And what's ironic about all of this is that what she's using to try to help me relate to what she's going through is like the one thing she actually can't relate to. And sometimes she'll just kind of assume what I'm thinking, what I'm doing, and she'll have both sides of the conversation. She'll say things like, I just wish you understood how difficult it is to try to always be the one thinking about the meals we're gonna have that night, or what we're gonna eat, or if I'm gonna cook something, if you're gonna cook something, or if we're gonna eat out, like that I have to choose it. And I just wish you would sometimes take the initiative and bring home food. But I know what you're gonna say. You're just gonna say, like, I don't want you to be hungry, and I don't want you to feel like you have to cook, so I can pick up something. I just don't know what it is you want. Okay, but that's fine, but I don't know what I want either all the time, and sometimes I just want you to bring home the things that you think I might want. And I know you're going to say, but I brought home things that I thought you might want, and you didn't want that, and so then we ended up having to go get something else, or I had to take it back, or whatever. It was this whole ordeal, so you're probably just asking me what I want so that I can tell you what I want. But that's the thing, I don't always know what it is that I want. So how am I supposed to be able to tell you the thing that I want if I don't even know what that is? And I know you're just thinking, and this whole time, I'm just standing there, and I'm wondering if I even need to be part of this conversation. I was telling my wife some story about something that happened at work or something, and something popped into her head, and she was like, let me just interrupt you real quick. I just want to say two things. And it made me laugh because I've never heard that before. People have interrupted to say, when we can say something before I forget about it. I do that a lot too. I forget about stuff all the time. But I've never heard anyone interject to say, let me add 2 points to your conversation before you continue. Sometimes I feel like it's just hard to find that balance. Like, my wife is never happy with the state of my breath, no matter what it is. We'll have just eaten something with some garlic in it, and she'll tell me, like, oh, your breath smells too garlicky. I don't like it. And so I'll go brush my teeth, and then I'll come back, and she'll say, your breath smells too minty fresh. It's like, it's overpowering. It's just not good. Okay, so I'll use some like orange mouthwash so it's not minty, and she'll be like, why does it smell like you've just been eating fruit? It's too sweet, it's sickening. Okay, like, what would you like me to do? She's like, I don't know, just do something to fix your breath. And so I'll just sit there. One time, she was on her period, she wasn't feeling very good, and she really got a craving for Taco Bell. But it was in the middle of like a blizzard where work had gotten canceled. There was no one out on the streets because of all the snow that was on the ground. It's a state of emergency. They've shut down everything, but my wife's on her period and she needs Taco Bell. And I feel like they would probably understand that and give me a pass. Even past me and my wife trying to understand everything that we do. Sometimes I have to convey that to other people, and that's not always the easiest thing. I don't really understand how this happened, but one time my wife bought like 6 sets of the same thing from Target. Like 6 complete sets, a bunch of different things, like the exact same items from Target. And actually, she was able to cancel 3 of them before they processed and shipped and everything. But 3 full orders still got their way through. And she tried to explain how it was, well, it's because they were having a sale and I forgot to put it in the first time, so I had to buy it again. But then later it changed and I had to buy it again because I didn't want to miss out on the thing because they had the wrong sizes and they came back in stock. And I don't really remember or am able to put this all into words, but there was 6 orders that went through. She was able to cancel 3 of them, but there were still 3 orders that delivered. Out of the 3 orders, there was maybe like a dozen things in each one, and she took like 1 from each of them. And so I'm here trying to organize 3 separate orders that I'm gonna have to return. And I have this big box, I have a bunch of stuff in it, everything's bagged separately. I have like all this paperwork that of all the different orders and all the pieces that are in each order, and that I have to show to the cashier to return this stuff. And I'm sitting in the car thinking like, how am I going to explain this to the worker on the other side of the register? Why all these things are getting returned? Should I tell them my wife has a split personality and that they all ordered the same thing? Should I tell them that she just accidentally double-clicked the buy button, or then she triple-clicked it, or then she clicked it 6 times? I ended up just taking it in there and hoping they didn't ask any questions about it. And fortunately they didn't. And I don't want this to come off like I'm always upset at my wife or anything like that. I'm very lucky to have her in my life. She keeps life very interesting, and she's easily the funniest person I know. Let me know if you guys ever run into similar situations or have trouble understanding each other. I'd love to hear stories about that. All right, I'll talk to you later.